Bussin'.
The reviews are in.
Awesome.
You wanted more Joe Concha. And we heard you. More Joe. More show.
We're talking to you. Under promise and over deliver.
Joe Concha. Weeknights at 9. Plus Sunday mornings at 11 on 77 WABC.
Jimmy Kimmel no longer tries to be funny. Not that he ever really was.
Joe Concha. Weeknights at 9. Plus Sunday mornings at 11.
Democrats defending cocaine coming into the country.
Welcome to the Dr. Sky Experience, proudly heard here on Talk Radio 77 WABC. As we broadcast from the center of the universe, New York City, around the nation and around the world, and I'm sure and confident, all the way out to the cosmos. We appreciate you listening to our flagship radio station, 77 WABC. The content that you hear, if you're a new listener to this particular archive, is about astronomy, space, aviation, and weather, celebrity guests, and also included, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about great stories of American exceptionalism. You can get in touch with me by emailing your questions to me at drsky@wabcradio.com. And you can also listen to reiterated shows, that is, previous podcasts of the Dr. Sky Experience at wabcradio.com. Our program, as it exists now, a 2-hour show, Friday midnight to 2 a.m. Saturday mornings, East Coast time, and then Saturday night, midnight into 2 a.m. Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. Notice the times, of course, will change as we move across the nation with the return of daylight saving time by March the 8th. Here's your update for February 2026, guys. The month of love to many, but another great month to view the nighttime sky, the wonders of the universe. And just a little side note, if you're thinking, wait a second, Dr. Sky, I live in a brightly lit city, the light pollution is so bad, what can you do to help me to learn about the wonders of the heavens? Well, stay tuned, because we're thinking of you too. Let's begin with the moon, Earth's nearest neighbor. We find out that on the first day of February, that is the 1st, we find another beautiful full moon. Though not a supermoon, we call this one the full snow moon. And that takes place February 1st, officially at 5:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking, of course, into the sky, as you look deeper into the northeastern part of the sky, the beauty of the full moon is something that, well, I'm sure you've seen it, but we're here to talk about some of the things that make it even more special. In 2026, we'll have 3 official supermoons. What's that? A supermoon is when the moon is at its closest, and also it coincides very close to a position when the moon is closest called perigee. We had one back on January the 3rd of this new year. The other 2 are November the 24th. And finally, as we close out, believe it or not, 2026 on the evening of December the 24th. But continue to look into the, eastern sky as this beautiful full moon then wanes. The moon, of course, shrinks in its visible light on the surface, as the moon is moving to the left each day, as continuing on after February 1. Last quarter moon on the 9th of February. And of course, don't forget your loved ones on the 14th, Valentine's Day. The moon moves back to its new phase. I call this the dark of the moon. And that occurs on the 17th of February. All to have what? The whole lunar cycle to begin once again, looking into the southwestern skies as early as the evening of February the 18th on Wednesday. The moon then races as it waxes and moves on to what? First quarter on the 24th. Now, the moon can be a fascinating object to see. So here we go to those out there who are listening in light-polluted areas. Big cities, the New York metro area, Chicago, Los Angeles, you name it. Even Phoenix, Arizona, where we're broadcasting. Pair of binoculars and a small telescope. You will get to learn and see some of the most amazing sights on the moon. And I recommend this. When the moon is at its new phase, it's time to see faint sky objects if you have dark skies. But for our city dwellers, this particular time of the month, let's say from about February 8th to about the 11th, and then once again from about the 19th of February up to and including around the 24th. Why? because you want the best shadow relief on the moon. So I've indicated near or around first quarter or last quarter, and then you can see the shadows. Let's say you see the moon half illuminated in the sky, that quarter phase. That is spectacular, not only in my opinion, but people who've been doing this for a long time. What can you see on the surface of the moon with a telescope? Well, you can zoom in extremely close, obviously. But looking at the shadow areas, we call that line between light and dark the terminator on the moon, and it continues to advance to the left, and whether the sun is rising or setting, that's the time and area to look on the moon when there's the best shadow relief. Now let's move on to the planets in the month of February. Find out that the planet Mercury will make one of its best showings for the entire year in the evening sky, and that'll take place on the evening of the 19th. Now where would you look? You would look literally into the south-southwest, just after sunset. Mercury, a difficult planet to see otherwise, is some 18 degrees from the setting sun. It looks like a fairly bright star. Binoculars will help you. But no, it's very elusive, because it orbits the sun once in about 88 days. An interesting sight. But don't forget, if you still look higher up into the southwest sky after sunset, the mighty ring planet Saturn is still there for viewing. Now, it's not much of an object to see in binoculars, but if that's all you have, just know that you're seeing an object about 800 million miles from your eye. Now, for those of you with telescopes, here's an interesting one. On the 15th of February, the mighty ring planet Saturn passes 0.9 degrees south of the planet Neptune. Now, I'll repeat that. The planet Saturn will pass 0.9 degrees, right, a little less than a degree, south of Neptune. So if you have a telescope and you want to see Neptune also, go to this website, theskylive.com. That will help you in your observations of many objects in the heavens. We give that a big thumbs up here on the Dr. Sky Experience, theskylive.com. Well, folks, the best planet in my humble opinion, is obviously Jupiter. You can't miss it. City dwellers, pay attention, because all you need to do is look high up into that eastern part of the sky at sunset, and that big white beacon of light that's now 400 and some million miles away, the sky show is great. Why? Jupiter's the largest planet, nearly 88,000 miles in diameter. So if you're looking at a pair of binoculars, just know that that speck that you're seeing, and in a telescope, much more a definitive planet, it would take 12 Earths to make the diameter of Jupiter. Now, Jupiter spins on its axis. Its day, how about this, is like 9 hours and 55 minutes, because it's made up of ammonia and all kinds of things, nitrogen, hydrogen, helium. It's just a world that wants to be a star, but it can't, because it needs to be about 80 times the mass, even if it were to start the fusion, to become a star. But it's just beautiful to look at. Again, theskylive.com will give you the position of the satellites and moons, the primary four, the ones that Galileo discovered back on January 7th, 1610. And can you be amazed how he would be, and the people who looked at Jupiter through his crude telescope, proving once, beyond a shadow of a doubt, but there was a lot of doubt back then, that the Earth was not the center of the universe, as was told to us in religious beliefs for hundreds and thousands of years, who knows, but that the Earth is just one object among many that spins around the mighty sun. So take a look at the planet Jupiter. It's quite fascinating and something that you do not want to miss. Now, throughout the rest of the month, there's also some interesting things to look at. Let's talk about some of the winter constellations, groupings of stars in the heavens. Now, this is fascinating to me. Far to the lower right, if you have a clear sky, and this I'm saying is kind of a generalization of Jupiter, which, by the way, lies in the constellation Gemini, the twins. If you look about maybe 25-30 degrees as your arm would go from Jupiter down toward the horizon in the southeast, that bright star that you're seeing is Sirius, the brightest star in the heavens other than our star, the sun. This is amazing. Some 8.6 light years away. What were you doing 8.6 years ago? Why do I ask? Because that's how long the light from Sirius has been traveling. So you see it tonight. Do the math. And that, of course, we're not going to do here on this particular podcast edition of the Dr. Sky Experience. But just know, to the Egyptians, this was a sacred god. Many peoples around the world revered Sirius because in Egypt, this particular star rising in August heralded in this particular growth cycle and seasons, the irrigation of the Nile as they would grow crops. It was called the heliacal rising of Sirius. Why? The bright star rose before the mighty sun. That, indeed, is quite special. To the upper region of Sirius is the magnificent constellation Orion the Hunter. Even in a pair of binoculars, even city dwellers, you take a look with binoculars, take a look at the 3 belt stars. Go to your star chart for that. And I recommend skymaps.com for a free downloadable star chart. Even in binoculars in some cities, I live here in Phoenix, and in the bright lights of Phoenix, I can see the nebulous region around the Orion Nebula, right down below those 3 central stars. The 3 belt stars of Orion, Alnitak, the star Alnilam, and the star Mentaka. Just a beautiful sight to see. But what about other objects that you can see in the heavens? As I mentioned before, follow the zodiac, Saturn, of course, and you can actually even see the planet Uranus, saying it politically correct. If you take a good look at a group of stars in Taurus called the Pleiades star cluster, sometimes called the Seven Sisters, just a few degrees to the very right of that. Again, theskylab.com will give you the exact position of seeing Uranus. Remember, that was the next planet that was discovered after the major planets, where Saturn was the end of the universe at that time, or the solar system to be more precise. But on March 13th, 1781, German-English astronomer William Herschel discovered with his rather crude telescope, or reflecting telescope, the object we call Uranus, this god of the sky, a most appropriate planet. And if you find it, consider and count yourself as fortunate, because very few people have ever seen it. And also the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune, as I mentioned on the 15th, where Saturn passes 0.9 degrees south of Neptune, and hopefully with clear skies. If you'd like to send me an email, it's drsky@wabcradio.com. And to learn so much more about all these particular events, check us out, the Dr. Sky Experience, our home, on this big, gigantic powerhouse platform. We call it Talk Radio 77 WABC, and not to be dramatic, we call it Theater of the Mind. We start our program off like this from the powerhouse blowtorch signal of Talk Radio 77 WABC, broadcasting out of the center of the universe, New York City, and around the world. Welcome to Theater of the Mind and the Dr. Sky Experience. Have a beautiful February. Questions and comments, as I mentioned before, to my email. Clear skies, good health, and of course, we love you listening to our platform, the Dr. Sky Experience. Thank you for that.
Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.